Good evening, everyone. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
My best friend, Evangelos, how are you? Mrs. Palavi, Mrs. Ake, I hope you health always. Yeah.
Good to be back with you all again.
Yes.
I'm so happy to see Professor Evangelos.
Miss Denny, where is Miss Denny?
I think maybe she has difficulty with internet signal. Okay. Shall we start without Denny?
Yeah. Or Evangelos, may you can be a moderator right now with all the women. Just you a man in this forum with me. Can you?
On the spot appointment.
Yeah, on the spot moderator, yeah.
Very good.
He is having difficulty in audio, I think.
He has to unlock his
okay.
Okay, here we are.
Okay.
I love you so much.
Meaning he's very relieved.
I was going to say, I'm not a very moderate person to be a moderator.
We love to have an extreme moderator. An extreme moderator.
You have to be.
I was going to say, being a moderator, is this a way to silence me?
No.
Oh, Aji, you know, I'm always joking. I think that's one of my virtues.
I think she has joined. Yeah, Denny is here.
Okay, Denny is here. Okay, Denny, can you start right now?
Okay. Sorry for the signal that my Wi-Fi cannot connect it because it's rain hard today. So I got unstable connection. Oh, I'm sorry for that. Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our international guest lecture in the third section. So we have, in the pandemic, we have the international guest lecture, the conference that occurred in 3 times a day. So my sound get trouble with that?
No. It's good.
Okay. Okay, so before we open our conference today, perhaps that we can. Is it good for my sound? I mean that I think there's a double.
No, it's good. Just start.
So perhaps that we can pray together based on our personal belief, just for a while with that in the silent, and pray begin. Okay, guys, perhaps that I can introduce myself. My name is Danny Febriana, so perhaps you can call me Danny. I'm a moderator here, our master of ceremony, who lead you into the international guest lecture in the third section today. So welcome in 88 participants that have already heard. And today we're gonna share about as we know that many things that happened in the world is of the justice of general equality especially, and today we're gonna talk about that, we're gonna discuss about that. So before that, I would like to introduce our guest lecturer today. I think that the three of them is already here. Yeah. Miss Pallavi Patak. Hello, Miss. And then also there is Miss Akka. Hello, Miss Akka, and also Miss Arika Mayanti. So the Honorable Mr. Aji is our CEO of Rumah Peneleh, also is already here. Welcome, Mr. Aji. And before we start our conference today, perhaps that I would like to introduce one by one our speaker. This is our CV. Curriculum vitae is, for the first one is Miss Pallavi Patak. She is Associate Professor in the School of Management Science for NSC, and Miss Pallavi Patak is into the management teaching and research for more than a decade after a brief stint of 6-year corporate experience. Wow. And also she had been invited as a resource person in different forums. The first one is addressed as participant as a resource person in Entrepreneurship Development Program, EDP, organized by MCIIA and also IIT BHU on April 7, 2016 at Entrepreneurship Varanasi, and also acted as a resource person in the 2-day national seminar on marketing, public procurement policy, and packaging organized by MSME Development Institute, Allahabad under Ministry of MSME, Governor of India on November 28, 2017. So perhaps that we can start our conference today, but the first speaker is Miss Pallavi Patak. Hello, Miss, sorry for that. Hello, Miss.
That's it.
Oh, I got jet lag for that. Sorry.
Thank you so
Hello,
much.
Miss.
Hey, hello. Thank you so much for this introduction. And good afternoon and namaste from my side to all the organizing team, my co-panelists, and Professor Evangelos Efendras, and dear participants. This is Pallavi Pathak from India. And can I just share my screen and then we'll talk about the topic today?
Okay, you
Yes.
can share it, Miss Pallavi.
Just a moment.
Okay.
Yes. Is it visible full screen? No,
Yes.
even just yes.
Yeah, it's
Now it
I can
is.
see yours.
Yes. Now it is full screen. So, foremost, I would like to thank Dr. Arika Mayanti for giving me the opportunity to express my views on the guest lecture topic, that is women and religion. So, since men is in the brackets, I would be emphasizing less on men and more on women. So, and since I come from India, I would primarily be speaking from Hindu perspective. So my topic, as I have already stated, I will be talking about, I would like, along with all of you, I would like to make an investigation approach through the lens of religion. That is the religion, can we blame religion for the inequality that we see today? So my topic goes like this: gender inequality approach through the lens of religion. So first of all, before starting with what all Hindu religion has to say, I would like to begin with with one of my favorite quotes. Please, I want all of you to concentrate on this quote. 1,000 years later, mankind perished, and the civilization perished. Dumbfounded, they stood in front of God, ashamed at the pronoun they used along. She smiled back. she smiled back. All the while we'll be thinking, thank you, God. He is the creator. He is the one who does everything for us. And in the end, we got to know that it was she all along. So I just love this quote. It takes a while to understand it, to let it sink in, but I just love this quote. So now I will actually come to my part. Yes. So in the same line, I just want all of you to think about it. Think about what is the gender of God before coming to the discussion on equality between men and women and all. Let us just ponder over the gender of God. So, from Hindu perspective, we do believe that the God is has that God is the supreme power is the impersonal absolute Brahm, as we call it in Hindi, that he or that supreme power is genderless. For our convenience, we pray God as Dev and Devis, like both in female and male versions. So both male and female versions or incarnation of gods we worship in Hindu, and many of the am I audible properly or it is echoing? Okay, okay. So some Hindu traditions they do believe that some kind of androgynous form. That means both male and female together. That we call Shiv and Shakti. Shiv and Shakti together, and both these forms signify different things. And there are yet another belief which says that it is not necessary to ascertain or ascribe any gender to it. That is either male or female, while cherishing gender henotheism. This is a concept which believes in that we are not denying the existence, though I'm worshipping Hindu, the goddess, but I'm not denying the existence of God also. I am giving due respect to both the genders. So, from gender aspect, we believe that God is genderless. God can be male, God can be female, God can be male and female together in a body. Also, we have to worship this supreme divine in any of the form we can. So, with this, now I'll come how the women has been portrayed all the way long in our religion, in our scriptures, texts. So because we are today we are discussing this from women perspective. So all the while it was found that women were treated with high regard, they were respected, and there are many scriptures which show that the female were respected, held with high regard, and specific texts were written for them in praise of women, for dignity of women. So we have many goddesses that we worship all the year round. So, and also, as I just mentioned, here you can see the figure of an androgynous god. Half of the body is male and another half is female. The female part is wearing a sari, wearing a nose ring, holding a lotus in her hand, and the male one is wearing an animal skin as a skirt and holding a trident. Shiv. This is Shiv and this is Shakti. So this is the androgynous god, that is Earth Narishwar, half women. Earth Narishwar means half women god. It's a composite of Shiv and Parvati. So this is how we've been believing ever since. Now let me talk about a little what is written in our scriptures. And I am going to take today example of many scriptures. The ancient literature presents two genders at balancing each other. They are complementary. They are not competing with each other. Even if they are being worshipped as separate entity, they complement each other. Very often we worship them in pairs, in couples, so that both these energies complement each other. As I have mentioned here, and also you can see in the picture, the goddesses in Hinduism are strong, beautiful, and confident, symbolizing their vitality in the cycle of life, full of life. While masculine gods are symbolically represented as those who act feminine. Act feminine means they are also when the situation arises, they can be fierce and they are full of vigor, but at times they are soft also. As soft as Lord Krishna can be seen in this picture. playing flute. So goddesses are symbolically portrayed as those who inspire action. So everything portrayed in a single person as patrons of art, culture, spirituality, liberation together. Now in this picture, you can see I have taken both we often use the word Trinity. Trinity means three gods taken together, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiv. Brahma, we say, is the creator of earth. This is what we believe in Hinduism. This Hindu Trinity is Brahma, Vishnu and Shiv. Brahma, we say, is the creator. Vishnu is the preserver. Brahma has created this earth, then Vishnu keeps preserving. And you must have heard the name of Sri Ram and Krishna, like in Ramayana and Mahabharata. So we say that this both Ram and Krishna are incarnation of this Lord Vishnu, who is the preserver. And lastly, Shiv. Shiv is the destroyer. When anything goes in excess, he is the one who brings balance. So he is the destroyer or the preserver. One is creator, another is preserver, and the third one is destroyer. And on the right hand side, you can see their female counterparts. So we say that Devi Saraswati is wife of Brahma. She is the better half of Brahma, and she is said to be goddess of knowledge, music, and arts. So wherever I think Dr. Ari, she remembers, whenever we have any academic pursuits, things like that, we always worship Goddess Saraswati. We offer garland to her. Before starting any auspicious, because she is said to be the goddess of knowledge, wisdom. And similarly, second one is Lakshmi. Devi Lakshmi, she is said to be the goddess of wealth and prosperity. So in India, if you know, we have a Diwali, a festival known as Diwali. So on Diwali, during Diwali, we worship goddess Lakshmi, and we invite Lakshmi, we invite wealth and prosperity every year. So people, they paint their houses and they bring new things. And with all these things, they worship Lakshmi and they invite prosperity to their home. This is what we believe. And the third one is Parvati, which again has many incarnations. So both male and female deities, they are worshipped alike. And this is what, like in Hinduism also, we have different kind of beliefs. So according to Bhakti tradition, this is the Hindu trinity of male gods, and this is the trinity of female gods. And as I was saying, along with male god, we always have a female god. So usually we worship our gods in pairs, in couples. So like Radha Krishna, Sita Ram, Shiv Parvati, Vishnu Lakshmi. So you can see that since that time, or even in our belief system, we always give the equal position to women. Along with male god, female gods or goddesses they are worshipped alike. And I just was mentioning about Devi Saraswati, and she is the one who is said to, she's one of the trinity of female goddesses. And like all three forms have these, we say that Lakshmi, Parvati and Saraswati, all these forms, they help Brahma, Vishnu and Shiv to create, maintain and regenerate cycle for the universe respectively. So this is how the balance of universe is being maintained. Now, one of the image is not showing. Okay, let it be. One of the images not showing. I had in this slide, I was trying to show 9 forms of Devi Durga. Like we have Navratris. Twice a year we have Navratri, where we worship Goddess Durga. So why do we worship these 9 forms of Durga? It is not. Yes, it is now showing. Now it is visible. We can see 9 forms of Goddess Durga. Now, what do we actually mean by these 9 forms? These 9 forms are nothing but various virtues of a woman, various aspects of a woman. Like we always say, women are multitasker. So simultaneously, they can do many things simultaneously. So as I've written here, Shailputri denotes strength, courage, and composure. Brahmacharini represents recognition of true self. Chandraghanta represents alertness. Kushmanda denotes creativity. Skandamata, innocence, compassion, and skills. Katyayani, healthier relationships, Kalratri, dynamism through deep rest, Mahagauri, wisdom, and Siddhidatri, perfection and enlightenment. So I think in this list, I have almost enlisted all the virtues that we see in a woman. So while we are worship goddess Durga, we are actually worshipping women, and we are acknowledging their contribution. And I think we have organized this guest lecture at just right time, because day after tomorrow we'll be celebrating Women's Day, International Women's Day, and a day or two prior we are in the mood of celebrating this womanhood. So another cult of Hinduism believes in Shaktism. Shakti in Hindi means power. This Shakti means that female goddess Durga is the storehouse of power, storehouse of energy, and this concept is not new. As you can see, I have mentioned here, the origin of Shakti worship can be traced back to Indus Valley civilization. That is 33 to 1300 before Christ. As old as that, since that time, it is believed that a supreme goddess is there. And how did we get evidence about it? In scriptures written at that time, one of the earliest evidence of reverence of the female aspect of God in Hinduism appears in Rig Ved. We have 4 Ved: Rig Ved, Sam Ved, Yajur Ved, and Atharva Ved. So Rig Ved is one of the ancient texts in which Devi Suktam hymns are written. Various kind of hymns and verses are written. Devi means goddess. Suktam means verses. Verses written in praise of goddess. And in my next slide, I will show what was written as early as Rig Veda time. And this Shaktism views that Devi is the source, main source, and the essence and substance of everything in creation. So supreme power. So as my first slide was showing, they were dumbfounded by the pronoun they've been using for God. So here we can see that this Shaktism views that it is a goddess that is the source, essence, and substance of everything in creation. And it appears very long, but I will definitely read it, because a few lines from this, because it has been taken from the Devi Sukta, which I was mentioning in my earlier slide. I am queen, the gatherer up, and most thoughtful. I am queen, the gatherer up of treasures, most thoughtful, first of those who merit worship. Thus, gods have established me in many places with many homes to enter and abide in. Through me alone, all eat the food that feeds them. Each man who sees, breathes, hears the word outspoken. They know it not, yet I reside in the essence of universe, here one and all. The truth as I declare it, I will not read it fully, but you can easily sense the essence that this Devi Suktam is showing, the praise, the verse that has been written to praise Devi Durga. Now, if you do not have any idea what this both women are doing in both the pictures, you can see in both these pictures, girls are sitting on floor. In one picture, you can see that this lady is touching feet of this girl, and other girls are waiting in line. They have probably, this is a very recent picture of COVID times, because they have put their dupatta as mask. They are using as mask. And in another picture, one of the Bollywood actors, Shilpa Shetty, she is serving, offering food to the girls. So we have twice a year, we have this festival where we worship young girls, treating them as the symbol of pure basic creative force, which we see in Durga. So girls are even to date, young girls, all those girls who have not yet attained puberty, they are invited and they are worshipped like goddess. So this has been practiced since long, and we still do it in month of April and October when we have Navratri. So despite I am not claiming that always Indian society and Hinduism has been female dominant. It has been more or less patriarchal society, but even then women has always been another strong pillar. Like Lakshmi is always used as a synonymous of wealth. And I would like to tell you a very interesting fact that whenever whenever after marriage a daughter-in-law enters her in-laws house, she is welcomed as a Graha Lakshmi, that a goddess of prosperity has come to our place, and she is worshipped like that. And we also do Kanya Pujan, like we were doing in the last slide. They were considered to be an incarnation of goddess Durga, and they were believed to be representation of positive energy. So quickly, because I think I'll have to finish it up. So I will quickly see how, apart from this religious text, how this evolution has taken place over the years. And if I would also like to emphasize where has the change taken place. When I'm saying that women have been respected and they were worshipped, then what was the turning point? From where did we actually start considering them a little lesser? So during Vedic period dates to around 1500 to 500 BC. This was a time where women were held with high regards. They were respected. There were no restrictions. They were given proper education. They were treated as daughters were treated as equal to sons. There was no discrimination. And from this time onwards, we are worshipping Saraswati as a goddess. And there are many rishis. Rishis are saints, or the one who gives sermons. So we have very known women rishis of this time, whose texts we are still studying. Then in Vedic period, everything was fair and everything was very happy and healthy. Women enjoyed freedom. They were right to inherit property. They were given proper opportunities in all walks of life. Then I would in during the epic period. When I say epic, I mean during the time of Ramayana and Mahabharata. At that time, also proper recognition, due respect was given to women. They were the pillar of, they were the axis of dharma, the prosperity and enjoyment. And in both, there were many prominent female characters uh, that are noteworthy. Then now the deterioration started from this period, from the periods of Dharma Shastra and Purans, uh, 200 AD, slightly the era of 200 AD. Now from this period, the status started gradually declining, and all the freedom that was given was slowly withdrawn, and they were denied of education. They were they were not even allowed to go through scriptures. They were banned not only from the education, but they were not to go through scriptures also. And we have a person known as Manu, who is uh, apparently the lawgiver of Indian society, gave the statement that women have to be under father during childhood, under her husband during youth, and under her son during old age. Now, after this kind of mentality rose, and many years after this, the similar kind of mentality that crept in, and the things started deteriorating. And other factors which all added fuel to the fire was rigid restrictions imposed by, we have very, this caste system is really influencing in a very bad manner, the caste system, joint family system, the lack of educational facilities. Then there were many foreign invasions. These foreign invasions were the primary factor due to which things started uh, taking bad shape. And in medieval India, the status was hopeless. Now it was very disappointing from this that there was no freedom from them. They were not given any educational the opportunity for education. They were just treated as a secondary appendage, as a to men. Whatever men were saying, they used to obey it, and they were treated as burdens. So things started taking back from Dharma period and then this medieval period. But again, in 14th and 15th century, there was a silver lining in the cloud. Again, there were few scholars like Ramanujacharya who started some kind of bhakti movement, in which again they started emphasizing upon the role of women. At least they gave them power to worship or to read religious texts. Slowly and slowly, things started getting better. And when they were given religious freedom, so this translated into social freedom also. Now the parda system, which was abolished, women could go out of their families to attend pravachans, are when the religious leaders are giving sermons, or they can pray together in kirtans and bhajan, singing hymns and all. So now I'm almost about to conclude. So before that, I would like to just draw your attention to the contrast between the ancient India and what we have right now. So in ancient India, proper recognition was given to the women at par with the men. They were treated as ardhangini. Ardhangini means half of their almost at par with the men. They were given power to practice spirituality, equal education opportunities. Of course, job duties varied in nature from being slave also. Few of them were made to work as slaves. Others were working as a servant. And there were few wealthy class or royal class who held the position of ministers also. So according to the community they belong to, the caste or the society they belong to, they were given different roles. But again, control was again and under they were under the control of the men in their families or surroundings. And as I was saying, there was a different strata of society. They were treated differently in the economically weaker section of society. The birth of child was not appreciated, even and preference of was given to male children. But in royal household or to the regal society, they were given the power to not only take education, to seek education or decisions and administrative functions also. Now I'll come to the present day biases. I have enumerated few of the biases that we see today, but as I mentioned, though in traces, because it is not that prevalent, but yet in few states of India, in few communities, in few castes, it is very religiously followed. Boy child is preferred. Even those who already have a boy, already have a son, they will rejoice when they have another boy in the family. And the one who already has a daughter has another daughter, then they will. There are people like that. All things are changing nowadays, but of course there are still we have people like that. Then menstruation related taboos, many taboos related to menstruation. Then patriarchal, by and large it is patriarchal society. Then female infanticides, and both female feticide and infanticide, due to many reasons. This malpractice started way back in during those invasion time, and still this malpractice is prevalent. People, they do not want to have girl child. If they have, they are going to just leave those babies outside. And of course one of the major concern is about safety. Still at many places women are not yet safe. So these are the biases which we see today. And a very brief yeah, very briefly, I would like to say about Hinduism is primarily practiced. I would like to speak a little about Sikhism also. The people, the Sikhs, who wear this turbans also. So in Sikhism, right from the time it was started by Guru Nanak Dev, since that time they are being given liberty and equal status. So it has been, so we cannot blame that it was the religion who taught us to be partial, to be biased. Of course it is the society which gradually turned made the things to take shape in the way we see them today. So Ari, should I show them question right now? Next slide, I have my question. Yes,
Maybe
so,
later after
okay
after
the question and answer in the last.
okay, I have quickly removed it. So I think now I will stop share. This is all I had to say in the 30 minutes that I was given. I think I have taken
Very
much
good.
more time.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss
Very good.
Pallavi. Okay, guys, that is the material of Miss Pallavi. And reminder for all of you all, because there is some giveaway for this section, for this international guest lecture series in the third section. So will be a door prize for you who can answer the question for the guest lecture. So listen carefully and pay attention for the material. And the next speaker is Miss Ake. Hello, Miss Ake. Could you hear my voice?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
I hope you can hear me too.
I can hear your voice, Miss.
Thank you.
It's
Wonderful.
clearly now.
Thank you.
And perhaps that before Miss Ake began to her presentation, perhaps that I can introduce you in a formally. So Miss Ake or Ake merely de Jeur de Jong.
Oh, don't
Is
even
truly
try.
that is true.
It's too complicated, and I forgive you because it's a ridiculous name. My full name is Akke Draaier de Jong.
Oh, Ake Draaier de Jong. Oh, that is the correct pronunciation, guys.
That's right. And it's very Dutch.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the education is accreditation psychoanalysis in Center of Excellence in 2020, postgraduate course preceptor in City Literary Institute in London, UK in 1979, also BA Performing Arts in Theatre School Amsterdam in 1978.
That makes
So,
me sound very, very old.
oh, that's okay. I think that they look so young now, and it's not problem about the age. I
No,
mean,
no, I know. I'm just joking.
okay. And for the work experience, is the director of honor of PT Sasa Studio Sejati in February 2020 until now, and also national deck assistant to the NM for the Netherlands, ages February 2017 until January 2019. And for the Henderson Award, recommendation outreach at Peace Educational Institute, recommendation for Dimension Travel Director S.A. Agostini, and also personal recommendation Director Caverall, and also recommendation intercultural relation. So perhaps that we can start.
Okay.
Don't forget, guys, pay attention and get the giveaway of the books. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. First of all, thank you very, very much for your kind invitation to share my thoughts about the role of women from my experience and practice, and be in such erudite company, because I'm very much impressed by all your knowledge and backgrounds. Firstly, I think it's important to clarify that my expertise here is based on my professional field of the judiciary in Europe, backed by my studies in international, European criminal law and human rights, conjunct with my studies in the field of social behavioral psychology, forensic psychology and science. I did not study religious matters per se as a separate subject, but I was always extremely fortunate throughout my life to encounter, meet, and speak with religious leaders and philosophers from all corners of the earth. And for that, I'm really, truly thankful. My husband and I are enjoying at this moment our retirement and assist in realizing the educational project of our foundation, Yayasan Kebon Sepatu, on a full-time basis in Indonesia. Our mission is to research, develop, and persist in implement these projects for the benefit of those people who never had the opportunity to go to school or learn a skill. These opportunities range in the field of agricultural development and fishery. Are we here? And for environmental and safety issues, and incorporate green technology and eco-awareness, preserving this planet. Together we have 6 children, all of whom we are very proud of and who are currently living in Europe. So this was just by way of introduction of where I come from. Now, in order to understand today's position on the role of women in the Roman Catholic Church, we have to go back to the source, which is, as we know, the Old Testament. And it's ultimately also the source of 2 of the main 3 religions discussed here, Christianity and Islam. I'm glad Hinduism, from their background, as I hear it now, has such richness in culture and really have always acknowledged the virtues and the attributes of women characters, because unfortunately, there has been something really gone wrong through the process of development in a religious context. It is through the acknowledgement that Eve was the sole reason that her male counterpart, Adam and she, were expelled from paradise. She allowed herself to be seduced by her hunger for knowledge. This baseline set a tone for the context in which women were regarded throughout the ages and had to justify her position in society. Now, we know that there are some other influences that are discussed actually in other Talmuds, but we're not going to talk about that here. The stigma has become a doctrine throughout time and actually made women pay for their committed sin, and has manifested itself throughout the New Testament, which is in fact the story of Jesus Christ and his followers, the apostles. And in one of the readings of St. Paul's, he was a church father and an apostle, which ordained and perpetuated the idea that women were inferior because it was said they were taken and made, created from Adam's rib, and should never be in any position of leadership or any kind of decisive roles whatsoever. The large majority of Christianity still maintains this view. You only have to look at the developments now in the US and other Bible Belt areas around the world, also in the Netherlands. But the current Roman Catholic opinion held by progressive religious leaders claim that there is a recognition of equality between men and women. They may in quality be different, but provide a complementary and much needed characteristic. There is the comparison to Hinduism, I find. So you can imagine that this recognition of equality between men and women, they may in quality be different, but complementary, because we need these characteristics in terms of procreation. The question can be put, why is there a biological need for both men and women to provide their components? Both elements are required to create a required balance in this new human being, which is a miracle in itself. So I always approach these issues from a macro to micro level and look for ordinary and simple examples to prove my point. I was also involved with a committed group of Roman Catholics in the Netherlands named the 8th May Movement. They were founded in 1985 and dissolved in 2003. They were fighting for more equal rights for women to be ordained as priests within the executive religious doctrine of the Roman Catholic Church. And I felt at that time that if I wanted to change anything, I just needed to be involved and roll up my sleeves to achieve any significant change. My children were still young, and I was appointed a director function in the parish we attended. The complexity, however, of a well-balanced opinion on matters like marriage seems a very hazardous way to operate for the Vatican. Priests are supposed to be celibate, and celibacy is a voluntary vow of sexual abstinence. And also they have no experience on nor exposure to living as man and wife. This is an extraordinary handicap, particularly in this world, in our day and age. And also an unnatural and forced way of life, because priests are commonly asked for advice in times of crisis between a couple. And one can imagine that the advice given will be purely academical, purely theoretical, and is void of any empathy. In matters like sexuality, they can only refer to their own experience, if any, as a single man, and cannot offer any solution for matters like infertility, miscarriage, rape, or even sexual abuse of children, because they simply do not father them. Within the same context, where the Christianity states that men and women are equal, as they both are created in his image, and we should not forget that. It's a difficult subject to grasp, but we have to remember that all of us are created in his image. And the sexual acts are considered sacred within the sanctuary of the institution of marriage. The very concept of marriage is supposed to be exclusive within the context of the Roman Catholic doctrine. And polygamy and concubinage are strictly prohibited. This has only led to men's creativity to bypass this stringent rule and caused extramarital relationships and children born out of wedlock ever since. Marital vows, in fact, and common fidelity between men and women is laid out in the 6th commandment and actually determines and signifies the fidelity between God and humanity as an act of faith. So the hierarchical status of men is reflected by the fact that only men can become priests in the Roman Catholic Church. Only men may become ordained clergy through the sacrament of holy orders as bishops, priests, or deacons. All clergy who are bishops form the College of Bishops and are considered the successors of the apostles, the first 12, the followers of Christ, and the ones who spread the gospel. The Pope is believed to be the representative of Christ on earth. Now, this explains the exclusivity of positions of power within the Roman Catholic Church, and also is the very simple explanation why this exclusivity will not easily be changed. One should also distinguish the Roman Catholic Church as between a community, a group of people that will be there always to support one another, and as an organizational structure. Those two are totally different. And despite all good intentions of Pope Francis, as he appointed women in positions of finance, art, and governance, he did not put them in positions where they could have a decisive role within the organization, because that fact is, by its mere organizational power, will never be tolerated as such. So what is left in terms of playing a significant role for women in this organized religious stronghold? Why is such rigidity still being maintained, aside from the fact that it would mean giving up power? Well, we have to go back to another question, which is really quite significant. Because the underlying question to women, the general ideas of the types of women the Roman Catholic Church distinguishes is, of course, Saint Mary, the mother of Christ and mother of all. She was a virgin whose ability to procreate with God the Father by immaculate conception. And because of this single status, she's also untouchable, and therefore she was deemed to be the ideal woman. The rest of the women are deemed unclean from accounts. We hear that Mary Magdalene, who was in fact regarded as one of the few female apostles, was made out to be a former public woman, a prostitute, who had been cleansed by her dedication to Christ. The fact that women possessed the ability to bring forth life, depending on their fertility and the fact that the monthly cycle is seen as a curse, not as a blessing. Well, all these traditional and prejudiced ideas are giving course to a preconceived ideas that women had to fight against all their life. So women are destined to play a different role in the practice of their Roman Catholic faith, as seen fit and appropriate by the governance of men. We have already seen that in the figure of Mary, having a special task in giving birth, nurturing, and being role models within the confines of their own communities. It gives women the option to be seen as asexual beings and not in any other role, that it may give a hint towards being a temptress, like Eve has been portrayed throughout the ages, and will emphasize her evil ways. So basically, all the other women must be a threat. Where are the exceptions then? Well, we must look in myth and legends. And don't forget, in 2 days, the 8th of March, it's International Women's Day. So we need to gather up our pride and be very happy for all the beautiful attributes that we definitely have. One of the examples, of course, I was just deviating, but I think it's important to mention here. Saint Joan of Arc, by divine providence, she led a whole army to war, to be victorious, but to be condemned for political reasons and to be burnt alive. And to achieve her goal, to lead this army to victory, she actually had to pose as a man. Otherwise, she would not have been taken seriously in her abilities to beat the English, as it were. So she was declared a saint in 1456 because eventually there was an investigation and they realized that she was being treated very, very unfairly. Then we have Mother Teresa from Calcutta, caring for the poorest of the poor. The first real role model within the sanctuary of a nun's existence. And she led us all by example. However, what most of the recognized saints had in common was the fact that they were said to reject the advances of forced and common matrimony. And they preferred, by giving their worldly goods and their lives to charities or convents, and living in utter devotion and penance in the service of Christ. So, how can women rely on their protection and welfare when they are seen to be faithful to the rules and doctrines of the Roman Catholic Church then? Well, on matters of health and physical protection, the Roman Catholic Church are predominantly evasive when it concerns artificial methods of birth control, which in our current world means that women are exposed to AIDS and HIV. They are exposed to unwanted pregnancy through rape, and as we know by now, also the high risk of cancer of the womb. So this means ultimately that we are faced with facts, and even through the Roman Catholic Church, the Vatican and Rome has originated in professing that men and women are equal, is totally different, but complementary, and providing a necessary balance between the two sexes in order to create a harmonious context. In practice and in reality, it still leaves women out in the cold and forces them to fend for themselves. And regrettably, even with the progressive attitude of Pope Francis, the roles given to women in the Roman Catholic Church are very few and far between, and never will their voice be heard as decision makers. So, in the end, what we need to do from Western Europe to South America and the rest of the world, if we want significant changes and we want to really embrace them, we have to be realistic because the contrary is the fact. And not surprisingly, the opinion of some very renowned theologians echo the following. The whole patriarchal system is based on the conviction that a man is predestined to command and a woman to obey him. The questioning of this practice becomes relevant for the 20th century onward, when the most backward sectors react with an increasing femicides, which in its great majority still remains unpunished and unprosecuted. The very cause of this and its irrational counter-emotion is a deep-rooted misogyny, which takes us back to the very beginning of this account about the role of women in the Roman Catholic Church. The blame that was put on Eve for being thrown out of paradise. And women worldwide are still carrying that cross on their backs. Thank you for hearing me out.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Aka. That is the great material today. So guys, don't forget to listen carefully because there is a door prize for this section, for International Guest Lecture in the third section here. So perhaps that in the last section will be a question from all of the material that have been answered by you. So after the lecture already given the question, you should answer the question by typing in the chat room. So perhaps we can move to the last section. Is Miss Ari Kamayanti. Can you hear my voice, Miss?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, so perhaps that I would like to read your curriculum vitae first. So Miss Ari Kamayanti is one of the youth activists at Peneleh Research Institute. Currently, Miss Ari is a permanent lecturer at Malang State Polytechnic in Accounting Department, and her concern for cited research has led her to be a companion and for national community important-based research. Her another book, which has sold thousands of copies, is Constructive Mythology for Accounting Research Grounding Scientific Religiosity. So perhaps that we can start the material today about the woman and religion. Pay attention, listen carefully, and get the door prize. You can start it, Miss Ari. It's still mute.
Good. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. I am really taken, my breath was taken by the two presentations earlier. I think this today is, I don't know, I think it's wonderful that we all gather here to talk about women and religion. And it's time to share my presentation. And because I am a Muslim, I will try to share my points of view in Islamic perspective. So can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes, clearly.
Okay. 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 So women and religion, and this is very interesting to talk about women. And we always talk about men, and what's important is when we talk about women, there's a woo in front of the man. So you cannot talk about humanity when you leave out the woo. So women will still be in front, yeah, in text, in terms of text, yeah. But I'm trying to ask you all to come to this realization about what we are having today. Yeah, what we are having today. We should understand first the concept of these words. Yeah, man, women, gender, and sex. They have different bearings. Yeah, they have different bearings. And when you talk about gender, I highlighted GEN, which is actually from the word gene. It is very much actually gender is very much related to culture. So Illich in 1982 in his book Gender said that gender is basically linking certain type of work with types of sex, and it's mostly associated with culture. For example, if I ask you, yeah, you can answer this, yeah, in the chat menu probably, just to make this more alive, yeah. Do you think who do you think should cook? Is it men or women? Who do you think should cook? Yeah. Okay. 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 Next question. Who do you think should hunt? Is it men or women?
All of them.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for the response. And who do you think should care for children? Is it men or is it women? Okay. Now, I'm sure you all have different answers, yeah. But what I am trying to put across here is that certain job that is linking with certain sex is actually what we call gender. So you talk about gender, it's not just about women and men. Gender is basically something that you do because you're certain sex. So if you have no difficulty answering, it's like, okay, well, women should cook, men should hunt, women should care for children. You are actually relating this kind of work to the phenomena of your cultural experience. Yeah, but I am sure now you have more difficulties in answering this. I am very sure. Because if you look at, for example, a master chef, yeah, the chefs are basically men. So who cooks? You can't say, okay, men can cook, women can cook. And who hunts? Yeah, well, men can hunt, women can also hunt. And who cares for children? And now both sexes do the same thing. And what are we experiencing here? And this is what I'm going to talk about this gender and sex fuss. I'm saying about fuss. Fuss is these issues, these debatable issues that we are raising upon the world now. What happened is that this is I'm trying to tickle your mind a bit, yeah. But when you talk about gender equality, this is a myth, yeah. It is a myth. It is a myth created by industrial society, yeah, to enhance capitalism. Okay. Okay, why is it so? Because at first, yeah, there is no such thing as who does this or who does that. Everyone in the family, by cultural inheritance, yeah, being placed there, they are being placed in the society by their cultural position and functions. Yeah, women cook, men go out for work, and there is no competition in that. This is what you call as a co-production home. Yeah, this is how a home can maintain their existence. Yeah, and the children lives with the mother. The mother takes care of the children, and this is nothing sexist about this. This is just being living in a cultural society. Yeah, and there's no competition. Why? Because we all pursue our traditional roles, and this is what you call vernacular gender. And what happened is we have industrialization, and industrialization needs the myth of scarcity. Yeah, because we are often told that we live in a world that we have to produce, we have to consume, and everyone must work to be able to produce more. And we cannot have this kind of roles. We cannot have these gender roles. You have to break down all these gender roles. So men can work, women can work, men can cook, women can cook. And we have to break down these gender roles by having non-gender education. Why do we need that? So we have non-gender labors. And when you have gender labor, then that means we have more labors. For what? For capitalism to grow. Okay. Why? Because everyone becomes a labor of production. And this is when the fuss actually starts to rise. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about the gender or fuss, sex fuss, what I feel is a fuss phenomena that we have to experience today. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying that it exists mainly because of modernization. Yeah, not because of religion, it because of modernization. Yeah. Now, let's check this out. Yeah, I have the Global Gender Gap Report from World Economic Forum. I'm just trying to put my point across here. That you talk about gender, it is very much a concerned issue for a World Economic Forum. I'm saying economic forum. Why is that so? Because we need to have this equality. Why? Because we need to have a greater economic growth, and we cannot do this if women cannot work. Okay, so this is interesting to see that gender equality or gender inequality is related to economic. Yeah, and these are the global gender gap index ranking, and here Indonesia is ranked 85. What are the indicators? The first one is Iceland. So in Iceland there is no gap between gender roles, yes, not women and men, but the job that they can do to perform. Yeah, there's no difference. Yeah, in Iceland, but you see in Indonesia it's red, it's marked red. Yeah, and number 85, it is marked red, which means that yeah, there is a gender gap. In Greece, because Evangelist is here, it's blue, so there's no gender gap in Greece. Yeah, you can see that it's online. Yeah, but what are the indicators? The indicators are the economic participation and opportunity. So again, economic participation is the key why we talk about the gender equality, educational attainment, and health and survival, and political empowerment. So these are the gender gap indicators that the World Economic Forum uses. Now, I have to try to put across my point about how economic become the culprit actually of having this gender equality. When then the women goes to work, the same discrimination happens. So yes, economically, they are still paid less, more compared to men. And so if you talk about are we actually moving to the right direction? Well, maybe we should think again about that. Now, let's check the fuss. The fuss happen when women are having these debates on how they want to have the better the rights to have more or education or the equal education, to have vote, to have more properties. And we are presented with all this phenomena about women's rights. They do exist, yes, they do exist, but do they exist because of religions? Are these religions causing this? I was really amazed by Pallavi's presentation about how women are supposed to be the what is it? The imagery of Durga, the goddess. Yeah, so they put women in sacred position. Yeah, so we cannot say that it's religion, but it comes again to the point that it is the mindset of genderless education that actually caused this kind of fuss. And you can see that now the fuss also you can see also from unwomen.org, and they have these several issues about how women and men are having inequality. And I am actually very should I say very I was tickled by the even the name of the web. Yeah, it's the name of the web is unwomen.org, but if you try to say in one word is unwomen, so there's no women. Yeah, I don't know whether this is actually something that it's not accidental or not, but it is UN women. If you read it, unwomen, it says there's no women. Yeah, there's no need to say women and men. Yeah. So about nationality, they talk about the employment, how women are actually underprivileged over these rights. Yeah, to their education, employment, land ownership, etc. Now. Okay, so even up to the political and health. Now, they do exist, yeah, they do exist, but they're making it a big fuss over it as an economic issues also, yeah. At the end, yeah, I'm trying to put across it. And I'm now back to this issue that we are talking about. Is Islam, how does Islam see women? How does Islam see the role of men and women? And there are misconceptions about Islam, and I have come across some websites about Islam haters and Islamophobia that actually give this harsh message that Islam is very oppressive to women. And I'm trying to put across here in this forum that it is not. Yeah, it is the way how Islam sees women as sacred. Yeah. Now, what's the first thing is about usually? Why is it called? Why is Islam usually claimed as being oppressive to women? First of all, from the Quran, that a prophet ask your wife, daughters, and believing women to draw their cloak over their bodies. In this way, it is more likely that they will be recognized as virtuous and not to be harassed. And Allah is all forgiving, most merciful. And this is the Quran. And this is one of the weapons being thrown at the Muslim world, saying that Islam is oppressive to women because they have to wear what I wear right now, yeah, a hijab. Yeah, they're saying a hijab. And it is actually a misconception, yeah. And you can see that hijab is not something new across religions. We have the Christian Catholics, they wear the veil, yeah, and Hindu, they have the sabi, and the Orthodox Jew, they wear covering. And I quote from one of the Corinthians, yeah, about there is 100 verses, over 100 verses about women dressing in the Bible, right, saying that they should actually cover their head. And so if you're looking at it from feminist perspective, you say like, yeah, this is one of the oppression. Yeah, women should cover and men should not. Why is it so? Well, the answer actually lies on how you look at women. If women are something precious, if you do have something so precious that you want to keep, you will cover them up. I mean, would you buy some food, for example, if you go outside and then you're hungry, and then on the side of the streets they have some foods ready to be consumed, would you take the foods that is openly exposed to the air, or would you actually consume food that is actually covered? Of course, you would choose the food that is already covered. Why? Because it is more clean. So this is actually how God has put women. They're so beautiful. They are sacred. So they need to be guarded. So that's why that's why the Quran said, you will not be harassed. We are guarding. Yeah, we are guarding the women. The Islam guards the women. The Islam places women as something sacred, and the covering of the women's bodies. They are not one of the oppression. They are one of the glorious place that Islam has put women in. And next we have also the different perspective of hijab. Yeah, in religious perspective, there's protection against evil intention and deed. They're glorifying women and virtuous sign. While when you talk about the modern perspectives, the quote unquote, the one that is trying to destroy the gender world. Yeah, they're trying. This is oppression for women because they are limiting the freedom of to wear anything they want. Yeah, and this is one, yeah. And I'm going to talk about more sensitive issues. ACE actually has already started it with about the marriages, yeah. And what about the marriages, yeah? Before that, it's Islamic inheritance, yeah. In Islam, for example, there is the Quran says that if your father, your mother, your parents passed away, then the women only get half of the wealth. Then they say like, this is the one of the oppression, yeah. And we should understand that this is not oppression, yeah. This is not oppression. This is understanding the functions. Why? Because in Islam, you have to see the Islam as a whole. And in Islam, men have the responsibility to take care of the family, to guard their family, while women do not. So making the men having more wealth does not mean that it's not fair to the women. Yeah, this is saying the concept of fair, the concept of justice. From modern perspective and from Islamic perspective, Islam tries to cover all rules, yeah, cover all rules of life. So even in inheritance, they have very specific rules about that to avoid conflicts. Yeah. And if you understand this well, you see that it is correct. It is how we can maintain order. Yeah. And then next about marriage and sex. Yeah, this is this might seem quite taboo to talk about, but this is also one of the things that is thrown at the Islam. The Islam is not just that Islam is oppressive to women, is the marriage. Yeah, Islam allows polygamy. This I highlight the word allows. Allows does not mean that you have to. Yeah, allows means you may, and this is actually one of the rules in Islam, that there is nowhere in the Quran that if you want to marry someone, it's not because of lust, it's not because of sensuality, it's not because of you need to have more wives to satisfy you sexually. It's not that. And the Holy Prophet has given good examples how he married widows, how he married uh, slaves, because he is against slavery. So it's just saying that slaves has equal position, so they can be a good wife. So the reasons for polygamy in Islam is not what the modern world, the liberal world sees Islam. The modern and liberal world sees Islam as uh, allowing men to have as many wives as possible. Yeah, but again, you can see that the Quran has clearly stated that you may marry one or two or three or four, as long as you can see that you can be justified to all your wives. But again, this is one of the things that Islam is being blamed, that they are oppressive to women. Yeah. And we do have also, when you talk about marriage, for example, a wife cannot go out without the husband's permission, and they say like, okay, this is very oppressive. Well, the fact is, the people look at the man and women, husband and wife. Yeah, they just look at the man and the woman. But when you talk about the woman cannot go out with the husband permission, it is not like that. It is like, you should understand that a family is basically an organization that you have to manage well. And in when you manage your organization, you need authority to keep the organization well. And Islam placed the authority over men. Why is it so? Because you should have one manager. Imagine if an organization have two managers, then the organization will just fall apart. So they're trying to the Islam haters trying to give these images of Islam as being very oppressive when they cannot see the whole picture. Yeah, and also, this is the most favorite part. Yeah, a wife cannot refuse sex to the husband, and the translation of this is usually because the woman uh, is submissive to the husband, and the husband can do as he pleases the woman. But they forget to mention the fact that you cannot just see this from one perspective. In Islam, you have to see the whole picture. And it is okay in Islam when a woman has having their menstruation and they are sick, and they say they cannot provide the sex to the husband, and it is allowed. So I see this actually. It is the man that uses all these quote unquote rules, yeah, to put the women as subordinate. Yeah, it's not Islam. It is how you look at these rules and see that these are putting women as subordinates, where actually it is not. And this is what we are trying to, what I'm trying to put across the message. Yeah, and this is part of the things that a suggestion how to keep a healthy family. Yeah, and one of it, you cannot deny it, is it's sex. Yeah, so sex is, even sex has rules in Islam. Islam covers all rules. And then we have also saying that a husband has an absolute right to beat his wife. And again, this is usually misinterpreted that a man can abuse his wives. When you see that Rasulullah, the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, is the most gentle, and there is the hadith saying that the best man on earth, the best man ever has on ever on earth, is the man that can treat his wife the gentlest. And we don't hear this often, because why? Because these are the things that are placed across us, and to make Islam as the culprit of inequality. Yeah. So the Quran, Surah 4, verse 19 says that you are not forbidden to inherit women against their will. You should not treat with harshness. Yeah. But then we can see that some interpretation of the Quran are very much related to the patriarchal mindset of the interpreter. Yeah. So it is not the Islam that is the culprit. It is actually the interpreters of the religion. They interpret the religion as their wish for their own interest. Now, if you see all this, I'm saying that actually the first university in the world is created by a woman, an Islamic woman, yeah, and she started with a big mosque, exactly like what we are trying to do in Sumbawa and Sembalun. We are making free education for all, yeah. And this event is part of it. So if you want to donate, this is for a good cause. Education should be free, and we're trying to make sure that education starts with the spiritual nuance. That's why we need to bring back education and spirituality and religiosity as one one package. You cannot separate them. And this is what happened now, because you separate education and religion. And religion actually teaches how you treat men, how you treat women, and with the same respect. Yeah. But genderless education, for industrial reasons, they do not teach that. So that's why we do have this fuss about gender inequality now. And next, I talk about jihad. Yeah. And jihad has a reduction of meaning now. Jihad is actually in a real sense is how to fight not just fight using weapon, but how to fight for the injustice, because Islam is rahmatan lil alamin. It means that it's blessing for the world. So the Islam is not a religion of war. Islam is a religion of peace, and this we misjudge that even ever since 9/11. And we see that there's Islamophobia growing, and this is part of the agendas to destroy religions, not just Islam. Actually, I'm trying to say it's not just Islam. You can see also churches in the Australia are now are now being transformed into museums or malls. Yeah, so it's not just Islam. It's all. This is the attack to all religions actually, and last February, we see there's some interesting comments about how in Biden's parliaments, after Trump, a month after Trump, there is a lady in hijab, and she is the official of the White House, Samira Fazili, and she was wearing hijab, and this is a political statement. So Now religion and politics, yeah, religion and politics are what we call it as are played, yeah, are played in the interest of the politics. Uh, Nearing the end of my presentation, where should we stand? Yeah. When you talk about gender, we talk about the movement, the liberal movement. We have liberal feminism in 1900s, yeah, with Mary Wollstonecraft, John Stuart Mill, Harriet Taylor, Barry Friedan, and they talk about equal rights, equal opportunities, and then move to radical feminism because of the system, yeah. So especially for Christian churches, they reject the Christian church's idea about women, and I think I got that idea. I got the idea more clearly after listening to Aka's presentation about how Roman Catholics sees women, and I think they do have the right to be angered by their place here in the Christian churches. And then after that, we have feminism and socialism about the denial of classes. And then now we have postmodern feminism, when you don't have to label like what Illich does. Yeah, we are challenging the invasion of feminism itself. But where should we stand? Should we go across this? Should we just follow the stream of liberalism and feminism, socialism, etc.? Well, I start with the vernacular, the gen, yeah, the gender, vernacular gender, the traditional, and then we move to a capitalist society, and then we move to socialist, and now we are in the postmodern society where actually all genders is dead. That's why it's called the death of gender. There's no gender. That's why they have all this fuss, because there's no respect about sexuality anymore. So where shall we go? Well, this was what I think. This is a model that Dr. IG and I came up about 3 years ago, and we thought that what the world needs is a respect for one another, respect in cultural aspect, respect in religion aspect, and we should not take this away, because Aka is Dutch, and she is a Dutch lady, and she will bear all those characteristics of the cultural characters. And Pallavi is from India, and she bears that personality, the cultural character. You cannot remove that. And we respect that. And that's why Penela is always holding this international guest lecture to bring awareness that we are different, but we are supposed to be peaceful. Why? Because if we do not have peaceful, we cannot bring back civilization. Now, this is my last slide, actually. So I'm trying to say here is that religion does not cause gender inequality. Yet what happened in the world, it is important for those with certain vested interest to make sure that religion must be seen as a threat. And that's why they destroy Islam, they destroy the image of Christian, they destroy the image of Hindu, and why we have this clash of Hindu and Islam in India. These are made, these are designed. And that's why also we have international research collaboration, just to make you aware. SMS Varanasi and Penela are having international research collaboration to show that empirically the youth does not see religion as threat. Yeah? They want the world peace. Hence, if you talk about those people with vested interest, these people will do their best to blame religions for wars, injustice, and inequality, to end God-based religions and to begin science-based religions. We have Homo Deus, we have Industrial Revolution 4.0. These are the science-based religion. And when this state is achieved, we will have a justice that is value-free, with no values. Justice will be determined by those in power for the purpose of material gain. So men and women are not the same. Women have the characteristic like the Brahms, the Brahma, and Saraswati, different character. They are not the same. Women can give birth, men do not give birth. It is biologically, we are not biologically the same. So if you want equality, it's really absurd, because you cannot be the same. So what we need is to achieve the gender awareness for divine civilization. And divine civilization is not a value-free civilization. Divine civilization is a religious value-laden civilization, since all religions teach peace, and peace leads unity, and unity leads to harmonious civilization. So I think that concludes my presentation for today. Thank you very much. I give back the session
Okay,
to...
that's great. Thank you so much, Miss Ari, for the presentation. That is a great materials today. And guys, we have to move to our next section is the Q&A, question and answer. So perhaps that if you have any question first, so before we talk about our third prize at the last section, perhaps that we can talk about that. So perhaps that you have any question for our lecture today. So could you please write down, or you can raise your hand, and after that we can talk each other so the forum can be alive. Just type down in the comment section if you have any question or any, what is that, any argument that we can discuss together about women and religions.
Maybe Evangelist would say something, because he said it is we have this conspiracy to mute him, but we do not really. You should not think that way.
Oh yeah, for this one is for women perspective, and tomorrow for the man perspective also. So perhaps that Miss Evangelist can say something for the man's perspective of women and religion. Oh, there is someone who raised hand. Is Mirza Amuda. Okay, could you please say something direct?
Maybe she can unmute.
Is someone else?
Yeah,
online?
yeah. Please make a line first, Miss Evangelist, for that. There's a Mr. or Miss. Can you say something?
It's he, it's he or him. It's Mr.
Oh,
Thank
Mr.
You.
Okay.
Thank you for asking. Yeah, so this is really interesting to talk about, especially, And my question is, what's your opinion of a belief that gender is actually a human-made concept? So human can actually identify themselves to be in the role they want. And do we really need gender in this modern life, and why? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Mirza, for the question. That is interesting question. So should we need the gender in this word? So perhaps that we can answer it for who wants to be the first who wants to answer this question? Perhaps Miss Akka who wants to answer this?
Well, if I'm going to answer this question, I would refer to actually Ari's comments about the fact that you should acknowledge a difference in gender. And yes, there are differences in quality. And it is to re-examine these qualities that can actually enrich our society. But we do need to accept whatever we are or want to be in the first place. That means that we have to examine ourselves. So do a good dose of self-analysis and make sure that you can exercise also your honesty towards yourself. You know, I always said, in a way, what is extremely important is that we have to have the conviction, or at least for myself, if I speak for myself, that there's only one who can look into my heart. There's one who knows me better than I even know myself. And I find that an incredible comfort to know that there is somebody who completely understands me, and I don't have to defend myself or be anything else but myself. That's a great gift. So in order to get to know yourself and accept yourself, that's where you have to start, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's true. You know, it's ourself itself. Okay, so perhaps Miss Pallavi has any argument for that, or wants to give additional.
Yes, I too do agree that we, as we know that we cannot be, men and women are not same. So the term here I would like to use instead of gender equality is gender equity.
Yes,
Gender
that's a better
equity.
thing. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that this is more justifiable. So we cannot just make like physiologically we are different, psychologically we are different. So taking into consideration all that background and having this in our mind, we should now uh, act, and we should now talk about the how both these genders, they are different, but yes, they can come together and perform certain actions, and how they can play their roles in a better manner. So we should stop fighting, or we should stop discussion about gender equality and rather concentrate on gender equity.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Pallavi. Perhaps Miss Ari wanna give the additional things?
Thank you. Actually, I want to hear what Evangelist Wah has to say about that. But as I stated earlier, that gender destruction, the concept of gender destruction is very much because of industrial society. And I don't know whether this happens across the globe, but I think if you look at the fuss that the gender inequality is now being raised across the globe, I think this already happens, and this is because of genderless education, and we should bring that back. Is that the awareness of who we are? We should respect. I really have Aka's words touch my heart. Where he said, like, we should embrace our beauties. We should embrace who we are, and this is what we're supposed to do. And men should do that. Men should do that. And in this way, we start having respect for each other. So we won't have any fuss. So no, I do not agree with having to destroy gender with a genderless education. I agree that we should go back to our understanding about our roles in society, both men and women. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Ari. How about Mr. Mirza? Do you have any other argument perhaps that we can discuss? For the material, already give the argument for that.
Yeah. This brings to my next question, which is those people who are not identify themselves in any particular gender as such called non-binary. And who do you think about that? I mean, what do you think about that?
Okay. Perhaps who wants to answer? There's additional question perhaps for Mr. Evangelos. The same, I mean, that or that also.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear your voice.
Yes.
Ari, this morning I started thinking about our gathering here and our exchange of ideas, and a lot of things obviously rush to mind. First, I want to make a statement. Most of you know me already, and you know that I work in the last few years on the basis of autoethnography. In other words, looking with an ethnographic eye at my own experiences through life and interpreting them in order to arrive at my perspective on what is happening. And so I jotted down quite a few things. If I can answer from my perspective, Mirza's question about, you know, the whole spectrum of gender identities, if I may put it that way. I think that as part of human rights, that's whatever you want to be, be. I don't think that it should be a matter of divine opinion or command. And I'll come back to Ari's classifying me in terms of religious beliefs. And I'll repeat for those who are not familiar with my self-declaration, I'm a religious skeptic. And I, don't put myself into the shelf with atheists, believers, or whatever. I'm questioning freely without feeling threatened by divine anger. Okay. Now, it's interesting. I was very much interested by what Pallavi also presented. It so happened accidentally, I was reading about the meeting of Greek and Indian civilizations during and after Alexander the Great, and how you got a lot of, the term was not used, but I'm using it, a lot of syncretism. In other words, the combination of religious beliefs from both sides, okay? Greeks adopting Buddhist and Hindu beliefs, and the other way around. I mean, a lot of Hindus who even assumed Greek names, okay? I found that fascinating, and it's a topic I want to return to. But now I'll go back. I had a lot of, how to put it, reactions to Ari's presentation. And already I had put down some comments before we even started on the connection between religion and culture. And the way I have put it is culture, arrow to religion, arrow to culture. In other words, there is no doubt that, for me, that religious beliefs and major religions, in fact, rise out of specific cultural contexts. That is the case with Hinduism. The interesting thing there is the connection through descent, I believe, as a linguist, from Indo-European origins, and you see the matching of gods and goddesses in ancient Greece and India, okay? Zeus, the father of gods, Dyau Pita in Sanskrit, okay? And so on and so forth. And looking back at Greek antiquity and the polytheistic part, there are many things that in the passage into Christianity, which of course has its basis in Judaism, comes into the Greek and Indo-European world. You get a religion that comes from the Semitic or Middle Eastern world, if you want. Therefore, in my view, it has very strong cultural features from the perspective of divinity in that geographic and cultural historical area. Now, part of what happened in the transmission or even the scholarly study, academic research study of ancient Greece has been filtered out by Christianity, because many of the scholars in between were Christians. One example that I want to give in terms, which is, I only discovered it, a few years back. I have mentioned it in some of our Penele events. Everybody knows Socrates as teacher of Plato, as teacher of Aristotle, okay? And I'm proud and love all three of them. No one before ever mentioned that Socrates was the pupil of Diomedia, a woman. Do you see what I mean? So in a patriarchal, androcratic society and history in the West, the role of a very important philosopher and teacher has been erased, okay? The same has happened to Epicurus, the philosopher of happiness, okay? He has been suppressed early on by the Christian church. Now, again, as an assertion of my personal position and perspective, I have mentioned very often, and I'm very proud of it, that I come from a matriarchal family, okay? And I mentioned that in Greece, especially on the islands, for historical and professional reasons that go against this current equalization that Ari mentioned very justly of the needs of capitalism. Quote unquote equality is, a means of doubling the number of workers. Okay, but you have in history, and it's all passed in silence, presence, topical or chronological, of women in important roles. For my family, I used to say that my father was a captain, an officer, my mother was the commander-in-chief. Okay. And my own socialization has come through family narratives of our family history going back. Now, to Ari especially, what I want to say is that the role and the picture of religion that you paint is sort of not realistic. I mean, of course, to me, as I have lived in Muslim countries for many, many decades, the Quran is one thing, everyday life is another thing.
Yes.
Culture is another thing. I look at Malaysia right now. I lived in Oman for 10 years, okay? And I find a very weak connection sometimes between behavior within the culture and the holy book. The Prophet was not a man like everybody else, okay? So what he advocated and what he believed and practiced, okay, are very different from the people in the faith. I want to mention also one thing. It's not just wearing a scarf. What about the burqa? I mean, having to hide your face altogether. And worse yet, what about female genital mutilation? In Egypt, you have the issue going back and forth between courts and the local imams and, a little girl being taken to a doctor who then mutilates her, chops her off, To me, this is incomprehensible. Okay? And the fact that it is practiced. Sorry? Somebody make a comment? Okay. Well, I'm going to great lengths, obviously, but another sort of to balance the issue. During the Greek Civil War, I was 3-4 years old in one of the northern cities. The local bishop was a rightist militant. I remember as a child the photo of the bishop with his priests of the local town, all of them armed with submachine guns and machine guns. What does that have to do with Christianity? In my view, nothing. The other story that I remember, I was a little kid, but I remember the story that the bishop had his bishop's palace turned into a kind of harem by having, quote unquote, supporting a number of young girls who were known as his nieces. Okay, of course, no family connection, but this was the bishop's harem. In the name of Jesus, I doubt it. Okay, I'll have to stop. Thank you very much for your patience.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr.
Can I say something?
Okay, of course.
I can understand.
I want to say something too. Okay, but
That is interesting.
I succeeded as a teacher.
Yeah. Just very quickly, Evangelos, I think you're absolutely right. You have a great point there, but you know, this is why I mentioned in my speech, or I say, well, you know, you have to distinguish between a community, a religious community that you are being carried, you're being comforted, you know, I've experienced it myself from different angles, and you have to look at the organizational aspect, as we know in the Vatican, where you cannot get through. You just do not get through. You're not heard. And I actually wanted to talk to Mr. I wanted to answer him about this gender, you know, this undecisive situation where you do not know which gender you need to choose. I think for everybody, every young person in that kind of dilemma, you just need to really realize that he made us all, and he made us all in his image. And a lot of people do not want to accept that, but it's a fact. It really is. This is what I believe. And you can take away my belief and say that it's nowhere, it's not written anywhere. But really, if we look into our hearts and we accept also the term we say in our prayer, you know, our daily prayer, we say our Father, our Father. It's a shared Father. He's all our Father, not just from one group. He is really, truly our Father. And we have to remember that. And especially in times of crisis, which I'm sure that an identity crisis, which gender you belong to, is one of those. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Eke. Perhaps Ms. Ari, do you want to give an additional to for Mirza and also for Mr. Evangelos?
Evangelos, yes, my dearest Evangelito. I know he's a religious skeptic, but we're still best of friends. And this is what I'm saying, that we respect our differences. But what I think what Evangelist is experiencing is what you call not religious skeptic, but I think religious people skeptic. because I think what happened here, he said he spent years in Oman and decades in Southeast Asia and Malaysia, and see how Islam and Christianity don't behave the way the religions have to, or in the name of religions. And I think what his experience is empirical. What he's saying is empirical, as he said, autoethnography, or how the empirical experience that he has seen. And he said that, okay, I am religious skeptic, but I think it's more the religious people skeptic. And I hope you're not skeptic to me, Evangelos, because we do truly love you, see? So why I'm saying it's not about religion. Well, I think you're more religious people skeptic, because people claim, and this happens. And I think most of the majorities are having this. Why? Because you are living in a world that empirically proven that the religion is being destroyed. And when religions are being destroyed and they're interpreted in such ways, and for their own benefit, to win the war, to get the chair, to get the power in politics, and they have been used in unjustified means to legalize what they do. And this is not right. This is how religious people claim. And sadly, yes, there are more people like that compared to the true religious people like Mother Teresa, as Ake has said. So I think we should in my point of view, I know you wouldn't agree with this, but in my point of view, we should know that all religions never teach war. They want everyone to be peaceful, and it is the misinterpretation of religions that actually causes all this injustice. And before I go, probably Pallavi just direct messaged me that she has to be somewhere for a meeting in India in about 5 minutes. So probably we should ask Pallavi to say something before she has to leave, I think.
Yeah, okay. So for the first thing that I mentioned before, that there will be a door prize or a giveaway, and that is the question for the speaker, and then you should answer it to the room chat. Yeah, on Zoom. It's already available here. So for the first one is perhaps Miss Pallavi can give the question first because she has any meeting. Miss Pallavi, could you hear my voice?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
But before throwing my question, I would like to answer one of the questions raised by Ima Christianity.
Yeah, I see her.
I see.
She has asked, she is stating that I have a silly, funny question for me and Miss Ake.
Yeah.
How couple work on domestic stuff such as cooking, doing laundry, etc. in India? So I would like to say something about it. Like some 40, 50 years ago, maybe 30 years ago also, we've had some typical gender stereotypes. Cooking has to be done by women only. Laundry has to be done. It's men who will go out and work and earn for family. But things have changed drastically. In last 20 years, it has changed a lot. It has changed a lot in most of the family, but unfortunately not in my family. Even though both of us we are out for whole day, both of us are working, but still, when our kids are sick, it is me who has to take leave and be with my kids, and which I do, which I have no objection to also. But in general, the mentality has changed a lot in India, and people, the new couples, like from last 20, 30 years or so, they are working together. Both of them cook, both of them do laundry, both of them take care of their kids. So things are changing in most of the families, excluding few exceptions.
And I can agree with that because I'm considerably younger than my husband, so he was retired earlier. So I had a blissful situation that when I came home from work, the food was already on the table, and he fears that my technical skills of manning the washing machine for the laundry would really suffer if I would interfere with that as well. So I'm
So now I'm writing my question in the chat box so that it is easy for all of just let me see if it is.
Okay, everyone can answer the quickest and the most correct answer.
It is very easy because one who has listened to me carefully can answer it very easily. The question goes like this.
Okay.
Yes. What are the names of Hindu trinity of gods and what does each symbolize?
Whoa,
Quick answer.
I had repeated it a number of times. And if you were a bit careful, then and I am sure that you will not Google it. You will just answer right now.
Oh my God, directly.
Okay. So you answer this question first if you want to sort of get into the prize, and I'll wait a little while before
I think Ima is a bit of a mind reader because when the questions just stood and just answer right on.
Even I'm surprised. Brahma,
so is
the
it
creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer. Yes. Okay.
It has couple even. Oh my God, yeah, that's the correct answer. Oh, she has a book. Oh, she's actually written everything you said in the note. See?
Oh.
So sweet.
Probably she was taking notes also.
Yeah, she's taking notes.
Okay, congratulations for Miss Ima Kristanti. Miss or Mr. Could you please turn on the camera? Perhaps we can say something. Perhaps
Miss Ima.
Miss Ima. Okay, Miss Ima. Congratulations, you got the ebook for ethnography. So perhaps that you can chat admin because you are the first one.
Congratulations, Ima. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you for answering correctly.
It's really quickly. So that is the number of admin. So you can text him for the you can what is that for take the giving or prize. Congratulations, Miss Ima.
Okay, I will say my question and then I'll type it.
Okay. Who will be?
Yes. What was the price Joan of Arc had to pay for her victory, and what was her reward in 1456?
Okay. Come on, Google it.
In an offline classes, we can control this Googling. But
yeah, because all of the participants can turn off the camera, so we don't know what they do. Although that the camera is turned on, we don't know that she has any phone in the background.
This is you are teaching everybody to cheat.
Go on. No answer yet.
No
answer yet.
Oh my
God.
God.
The partner.
What was the price of Joan Arc?
Joan of Arc had to pay for her victory? She went with her army and slew them all. And what was her reward eventually in 1456? I did elaborate. I remember it clearly. Oh dear, I think everybody fell asleep actually while I was doing my thing.
I think still typing or Googling.
Probably Googling.
Okay.
Who will be the
one
of
unanswered
Ima
question
who get this book freely?
They'll be thinking, who was Joan of Arc again? Who was she?
Who is that?
Who is that? Come on, you can do it.
I know the answer, but I will not answer. Oh my God! Evangelist, a surprise.
Very good.
I was actually doing like burning.
You see, it is not exactly a very nice thing to do to anybody, is it? Yeah.
Okay. So Evangelist, you will have a free ebook.
Okay, congratulations, Mr. Evangelist.
Congratulations.
Okay, perhaps that Miss Ari can have your question.
Okay, the last question, and this is a very simple one, actually, a very simple one. My question is, in Islam, does women? No, sorry. Maybe I'll just type it out.
Okay. Who will be the first one who answer Miss Ari's question? It will be interesting if all of the conference have a quiz like this one. So everybody would listen carefully for that.
I mentioned about the role of Islamic women, yeah, in my presentation, and that has a deep impact in our society. The first Islamic woman that invents what kind of I wouldn't say something that spill out the answer. What I mentioned about the role of one of Islamic women, and what did she invent? Yeah, probably what did she invent?
Okay, the question is, I mentioned about the role of one of Islamic women. What did she invent? Oh my God, that is the highlight one at the full of that.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
congratulations, Miss Samuda. Yeah, University in Mariku. Okay, congratulations.
Thank you for listening.
Great.
You get
Thank
free
you.
ebook from Panela, so you can chat the admin that I have typed before, the number that I've typed before, or you can chat in the number, this one at that picture. So just directly give your email, and then you have already got the access for that. Okay, thank you so much for all the participant here. So because Miss Pallavi has any meeting, perhaps that we can take documentation first, isn't it?
Okay.
Okay, so we can take a documentation. So for the commit,
we can open camera if you're on the camera. We can open it just a while so we can see your beautiful faces or handsome faces.
Okay.
Okay.
How about the commit here? Who has
Okay, I'll take the picture.
And probably Saki will turn on the light, please.
Okay, turn on the camera, please, guys.
Turn on the light. It's dark. She's not visible properly.
Yeah, because Lombok is already dark now.
Oh, yeah. So I will gallery view.
Is it better?
Oh, that is the four slide here. So could you please turn on the camera? I think that for the second slide is not. Okay, one by one. It's already on.
Okay.
I don't know how to turn it on. I think
not yet, Miss Ari. Still many person who didn't open the camera. Okay, could you please open the camera first?
I have a stop video here. I don't know how to do. Oh, okay. Is that okay?
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You look just beautiful.
Thank you very much, Ari. You're so sweet. You're very, very sweet.
I know. Evangelist also always tell me that I'm so sweet.
Yeah, that's true. In every conference I've been.
Sweet and sour.
Okay, shall we?
Okay.
1, 2. Okay, the first slide. Okay, now the second slide. Because you don't know which slides you're on, just put your happy face, okay? 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3. And the last slide. Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Ari, for helping me to take a picture because I cannot take a picture fastly. Okay. Thank you so much, Miss Pallavi. Perhaps that you can leave us, or we continue our discussion first, Miss Ari.
Yeah,
the question
before leaving, I
didn't answer it before.
Just before leaving, I would like to thank all of you. It was great to be with you all. Thank you, everyone, my co-panelists, Professor Evangelos, Danny, participants, everyone. Take care.
You too. Take care.
I've been receiving calls from my director. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Miss Pallavi.
This I learned in Indonesia.
Oh yeah. This is the new one, the modern one. Okay, thank you so much, Miss Pallavi, for that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So tomorrow will be international guest lecture, but in men's perspective. So don't forget, tomorrow still have any discussion for that. So still talk about women and religion. And also, how about this one, Miss Ari? Should we continue our discussion or just close it?
I think we have only 10 minutes left until 6 o'clock. So,
Okay.
yeah, so maybe closing statement for Aku probably.
Okay,
Really?
so that is, yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, for everyone.
Okay, right.
Closing statement.
Closing statement. Well, first of all, I thought it was an absolute wonderful experience. It was the first time I've ever been invited to participate in such a seminar. It was very interesting. I love the contributions. And I think basically this is just the start of a series of very interesting exchange of thoughts in making sure that we will, as people, grow in our faith and spirituality. I wish everybody the very best, and thank you very much giving me this opportunity to participate.
Thank you. Thank you, Aku.
Thank you so much,
you.
Miss Aku, for the closing statement. Perhaps Miss Ari, do you have any closing statement for this your forum?
Now maybe Dr. Aji would like to say something because she's ready in front of the camera.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry. Okay.
No.
No?
Okay.
No. Because it's a women's perspective, so he would not talk today. He will talk tomorrow, though. I will make sure he will talk tomorrow because tomorrow is men's perspective.
Yeah, I think.
Evangelists do come again. And thank you very much, very much. And this is
too much.
yes.
I will talk too much tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, it's a payback against women. No, yeah. We are all loving people here, and thank you very much. This is such wonderful session. I love it so much. Thank you, Aku. The first time I met you in Lombok, it was really you took my breath away. Such a lady with a vision, and I know that we'll be friends after this, and even closer, I hope. And thank you very much of everyone for coming. And let's keep in mind, let's respect each other's sexes, let's respect each other's gender, and be good to everyone. And I hope that we can be a better world. We can build a better world together with good respect and harmony. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Back to you, Danny.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Ari, Miss Aku, Miss Evangelos that already here, and also Mr. IG. The honorable one. So guys, except the forum international guest lecture, we have many activity in Penele also. For example, there is Masjid Campus, that is the free education here that already talked by Miss Ari. And also the one thing is Diksarnas. Diksarnas will be happen in Sumbawa, if I'm not wrong. Is it true? Okay, and also there's another, tomorrow will be international guest lecture, also the third series, but in a man perspective. So don't forget to register, and see you tomorrow also. Thank you so much for coming here, for all of the participants here. I like to say thank you so much that you already make the forum alive also with the quiz and another one. So that is the wonderful discussion today, talk about women and religion. Thank you so much, and I'm sorry if I have missed it.
See you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care. Be safe, be
everyone.
happy.
Tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.